It's Friday, July 25th, 2025. Welcome to episode 164 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. In this edition of the Postcast, a pipe bomb shuts down traffic. Alameda PD adds patrols and shares the latest crime statistics. The Planning Board to discuss an 8-story structure. Local golf, boating, and baseball in the news. Great events for the younger set. Radio Day by the Bay is a success. And if you think it's been cold lately, you're right. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story. On Tuesday morning, the area near 6th Street and Taylor was closed to traffic in the wake of a concerning report. At approximately 10:15 a.m., crew members from Alameda's Public Works Department were performing routine maintenance in a storm drain, and they came upon a suspicious item. They stopped work and reported the item to Alameda PD. By 10:30 a.m., APD officers notified the Alameda County Sheriff's Office Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit, and as a precaution, the area near 6th and Taylor was closed to all traffic. The EOD unit arrived at the scene and assumed control of the investigation. After a series of scans, the item was identified as an old pipe bomb. How old? Old enough that the combustible materials in the pipe had deteriorated. EOD neutralized the device, and the roads were reopened. No injuries were reported. Importantly, Alameda's famous pig, Bosco, who lives nearby, was unaffected. Thanks to Public Works, APD, and the Sheriff's Office for their prompt and efficient response. Story at alamedapost.com/news. Staying with APD for a bit, this week the department launched a dedicated business patrol to support local businesses and their patrons. While you may see some of these officers in patrol cars, you will also see many of them on bicycles, which gives a much more direct interaction with the surrounding community. These officers will work closely with store staff, loss prevention teams, and security personnel to quickly respond to in-progress incidents. They'll also take proactive measures to help prevent future crimes. APD Business Patrol also there to ensure safe travels to and from local shops and restaurants, and are responsible for conducting traffic enforcement in the business districts. According to APD, on the first day of the new patrol, quote, this proactive presence resulted in multiple arrests related to theft, parole violations, outstanding warrants, and narcotics offenses. Additionally, several traffic citations were issued to motorists engaging in unsafe driving behaviors that posed a risk to those traveling in our business areas. End quote. Full story at alamedapost.com/news. Also this past week, APD issued crime statistics for the month of June. On the whole, good news, with the most pleasant surprise being catalytic converter thefts. What was once an absolute plague has apparently fallen out of fashion. Total converter thefts in June? 1. Automobile thefts are averaging just over 1 a day, also an improvement over past numbers. Collisions, unfortunately, have reached a 6-month high with 77 reported. Combine distracted drivers with a lot of construction, you begin to understand why the numbers might be up. APD officers issued 218 traffic citations and 187 warnings. Arrests, calls for service, and reports taken were all down. Story and charts at alamedapost.com/news. On Monday, July 28th, the Planning Board will hold a public hearing to review a proposal to build a 356-unit, 8-story residential building at 2433 Mariner Square Loop near the Oakmont Assisted Living Facility. That area currently used as office space. The project will include 283 parking spaces and 356 bicycle spaces in a multi-story garage, as well as 124 off-site parking spaces in an adjacent lot leased from Caltrans. Residential units will include 55 studios, 200 one-bedroom units, and 101 two-bedroom units. The site, also including 2363 and 2381 Mariner Square Drive and 2415 Mariner Square Loop, was redesignated during the 2023 Housing Element Update to allow residential usage. The developers are Martin Mariner Square LLC and MASH Petroleum Incorporated. MASH Petroleum is an Orinda-based service station management firm that also owns restaurants and real estate in the Bay Area. Planning staff is recommending the approval of the design review permit. The public is invited to give their input at Monday's meeting, either in person or via Zoom. Karen Jensen has all the details at alamedapost.com/news. Lots of sporting news to talk about. Let's start with golf. Alameda High senior Kyler Stone has been having quite the year. The winner of the 2025 Northern California Golf Association Junior Championship was in Texas at the 77th U.S. Golf Association Junior Amateur Championship in Dallas this week. His opening round found him atop the leaderboard after a bogey-free 5-under par 66. Second round of stroke play, a bit of a struggle, 6 bogeys resulting in a 4 over par performance. Still, Good enough to make it into the round of 64 match play tournament where he defeated Cameron Kuchar, son of 9-time PGA Tour winner and Olympic medalist Matt Kuchar. However, the round of 32 not so kind, with Kyler falling to China's Mingbo Zhang in 16 holes. Kyler will be back with the Hornets for his senior year and will attend Pepperdine in the fall of 2026. Full story at alamedapost.com/sports. From avoiding the water to owning the water, Alameda's dragon boat racing team, the Dragonflyers, extended their winning streak with a third-place finish at the California Dragon Boat Association Sprint Races in Foster City on July 19th. Sprint races are 250-meter events, half the distance of the typical 500-meter race. Dragonflyers will be participating at the Northern California International Dragon Boat Festival on September 21st in Foster City, and again on September 27th at San Diego's International Dragon Boat Festival. To learn more about this fast-paced sport and maybe even get involved yourself, see Carolyn Thomas's article at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. A sad note from the Alameda sports community. Alameda's Little League lost one of its guiding lights this past month. Brendan Barker, umpire, groundskeeper, and unofficial cheerleader for the Alameda Little League, passed away unexpectedly in his sleep on June 12th. He was just 51 years old. League President Ron Matthews wrote on the league website, quote, "He was always there when the league needed him during fair weather and foul," end quote. You might have seen Little Leaguers carrying a banner in Brandon's honor in this year's 4th of July parade. Following Barker's example of service to the community, the Brendan Barker Foundation has been formed to sponsor kids and adults to become umpires. The foundation was formed using donations that were made to Brendan's family through a GoFundMe after his passing. The family decided to close that account and donate the money to set up the foundation. If you follow youth sports at all, you know there has been a shortage of officials for quite some time. Another effort to honor Barker has come in the form of a petition to name one of the streets under construction near Wood Middle School after him, fitting as that's where the Little League fields are located. A celebration of life for Barker was held on Saturday, July 19th at those very fields. Perhaps the most fitting tribute, the Alameda Little League 11U All-Stars won the Little League Section 1 championship in Woodland, California. The team wore stickers on their helmets in honor of Barker and chanted Brendan after the final win while holding the championship banner. Stories and pictures at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. On the subject of activities for the younger ones, Amanda Laird has turned her attention to kid-friendly fun this weekend in her all-around Alameda column. Tonight, Friday, Starlight Movies in the Park returns to Alameda Point Multipurpose Field for the PG-rated animated feature The Wild Robot. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. In my opinion, it was robbed at last year's Oscars. Definitely should have won Best Animated Feature. The event starts at 6:30. The film begins between 8:15 and 8:45, depending on darkness. Bring your own chairs and blankets. No alcohol, grills, or pets, please. On Saturday, the circus back in town, Circus Bella at Radium Runway on Saturday, July 26th for 2 performances of their amazing show, Hoopla. Saturday and Sunday brings the downtown Alameda Art and Wine Fair. While there's obviously plenty for the grown-ups, there's also the kids area on Park Street with bungee jumping, face painting, puppet shows, and more. If you're still hungry on Sunday, join the City of Alameda firefighters for their annual pancake breakfast from 9 a.m. until noon at Alameda Fire Station Number 1 at 2401 Encinal Avenue. Also on Sunday, The Legend of Polybius, a literary pinball adventure at the Pacific Pinball Museum. The event centers around Polybius, a mythical video game that people swear exists, but is actually an example of a Mandela effect. The special event is made possible by Alameda Sports Cards and Comics, Books Inc., Rocket Reuse, The Flipper Room, The Little Flippers, and Pinball Pirate. And if you're headed to the Oakland Ballers game on Sunday, it's Halloween in July with extra Halloween magic from our very own Alameda Haunts Boo Crew. Full details in all around Alameda at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. Thanks to the folks at the California Historical Radio Society, last Saturday's Radio Day by the Bay was a huge success. Great to meet so many Postcast listeners. Gene Kane was also there. Find his report and pictures at alamedapost.com/alameda-life. More photos at the CHRS Facebook page. If you think it's been cold lately, you're right. According to KTVU, this is the coldest start to a summer in the Bay Area since 1965. What's to blame? A strong marine layer, cooler ocean temperatures, and lack of a high-pressure ridge. I, for one, will take it. You can help support local news by heading to alamedapost.com/donate. Find us on all the usual social media outlets. And don't forget, you can look for us on Nextdoor and Apple News. Find the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Peeler. I'll be back next Friday with episode 165 of the Alameda Postcast.